Pro-Vice-Chancellor, as public orator, I present Glynis Wright, a candidate for the Honorary Degree of Doctor of Laws. To paraphrase George Orwell in Animal Farm, all men and women are equal, but some women are more equal than others. This is certainly true of Glynis Wright, who has succeeded brilliantly in both law and business, fields traditionally dominated by male rather than female leaders. Glynis was born in Ryhope, Sunderland. Her parents came from a family of low income. Her father escaped poverty by joining the army before he became a policeman in Essex. Glynis's mother, who's here today, was a homemaker and the main carer for the children, but she also took work in local industry to supplement her income. Glynis is proud of her working class background and attributes her own drive and strong work ethic to her upbringing. Glynis's childhood was disrupted by the movement of her father to different police stations. Glynis attended 5 different schools in Essex, which inevitably led to underachievement and a hugely disrupted education. Lacking stimulation at school, Glynis retreated to her local library where she read books on literature and philosophy, an unusual pursuit for a teenager. Her A-levels were not outstanding, but that interview at the University of Leicester, the interviewer saw her potential, the spark of knowledge gained from independent reading, and the drive to achieve more in life. She was given a place to read English and philosophy, and Glynis sees this moment as a significant turning point in her life. Glynis enjoyed her time at the University of Leicester, especially philosophy, where she developed skills to present logical arguments in both orally and writing. She enthusiastically took part in student life, joined various left-wing societies, and wrote articles for the university newspaper called The Ripple. After graduation, Glynis decided to stay in Leicester, where she took a varied selection of jobs in local government, including economic development work in deprived areas of the county. She also had her much-loved son, Ben, also is here with us, then juggling her career with motherhood. When she was approaching 40, Glynis had an epiphany, and she decided to change her life completely and retrain as a lawyer. She enrolled into Montfort University and graduated in the year 2000 with a postgraduate diploma in law and legal practice. Her studies were highly successful, and she won Student of the Year prize for having the highest marks. In 2001 to 2003, Glynis underwent her training contract with a local firm specializing in family law. On qualifying, she became head of the family law department, and she was made partner by the firm only 2 years later. However, Glynis's sense of achievement was overshadowed by the disappointment that she did not feel she was an equal party at the boardroom table. She recalls being told, "You just go out there and bring in the work and leave the running of the firm to us." The us in this context were, of course, all men. Glynis refused to accept this glass ceiling. In 2009, she started her own law firm. As the venture capitalist Heidi Roisin famously said, "The glass ceiling doesn't apply when you're building your own house." Glynis borrowed £10,000 from her father and founded Glynis Wright Limited on that small sum alone. Over the next decade, she became one of the most well-known and widely publicized divorce lawyers in the county. At the same time, Glynis also built her reputation as a successful female business leader. Glynis's team, almost exclusively female lawyers, aligned strongly with Glynis and her ethics of her family law service. A rather arresting image of Glynis and her team appeared on local billboards, most famously near the underpass at John Lewis's in Leicester, which went viral and escalated the firm's enviable, considerable reputation. Glynis's law firm won multiple awards, including Small Firm of the Year in the Leicester Law Society Awards of 2015, and most impressively, Small Law Firm of the Year in the National Law Society Awards of 2018. In the same year, the firm was awarded Team of the Year by the East Midlands Chambers Enterprising Women's Awards. Glynis also became known for her charity work. This included a film project that she created with local charity Soft Touch Arts. The film was called Pulled Both Ways, where young people produce films about how it feels to be a child caught in the middle of parents who are breaking up. Glynis won the award of Fundraiser of the Year in the Community Championship Awards of 2020. Glynis became a member of the Executive Board of Leicestershire Law Society, where she was instrumental, along with others, in it becoming one of the most dynamic regional law societies in England and Wales. She was elected president and served from July 2019 to September 2020. Glynis's presidential events were widely attended by academic, business, and legal communities, and are fondly remembered for their flair and elegance. At one Christmas event, we even enticed Glynis to join in the singing of a Christmas carol with the University of Leicester chorus. Glynis also received much personal recognition, both as a lawyer and as a businesswoman, including Businesswoman of the Year in the East Midlands Awards of 2018 and the Natural Awards of 2023, highly commended Woman Lawyer of the Year in the National Law Society Excellence Awards of 2020. However, undoubtedly the crowning achievement for Glynis was the MBE in the Queen's New Year's Honours List of 2021 for services to female entrepreneurship. In 2020, Glynis successfully brokered the sale of her law firm to Nelson's LLP, which was another significant achievement in her entrepreneurial journey. She became an equity partner with Nelson's, running the Leicester Family Law Department, integrating her team of lawyers. This year, Glynis once again took the decision that running her own show is where she feels most comfortable. In March, Glynis Consultancy Limited was set up with the aim of helping businesses and their leaders develop into the successes of the future. In line with this new venture, Glynis is the non-executive director of Leicester and Leicestershire Enterprise Partnership. Glynis wishes to encourage others, particularly those from diverse backgrounds, to adopt the path of self-determination by running their own businesses. Just this month, Glynis was admitted as a free man of the Aspirant Livery Company of Entrepreneurs in London, where she will be contributing to their philanthropic outreach work. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, it is clear that to all who know her that Glynis Wright is indeed more equal than others in the field of entrepreneurship and the law. She is a force of nature with energy and enthusiasm to act as a role model for the business leaders of the future, particularly female leaders. We are delighted to celebrate Glynis Wright MBE as a highly successful alumna of the university. Pro-Vice-Chancellor, on the recommendation of the Senate and Council, I present Glynis Wright that you may confer upon her the honorary degree of Doctor of Laws.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you to Dr. Jenkins for such an incredible oration. So good, in fact, I hardly recognized myself. I know that he took considerable care over that, and that oration will be something that I treasure for the rest of my life. It's hard to explain to you how it feels to be given an honorary doctorate in law from the University of Leicester. I was here, as you are today, in July 1984, achieving my degree, my graduation in English and philosophy. And I remember the excitement that you should be feeling at the end of this incredible journey of work that you've put in over the past years to achieve your degrees today. When I came to Leicester all those years ago to study English and philosophy, I fell in love with Leicester University. It has been memories that I have treasured all my life. And what that meant is that I aligned to Leicester as my new home my community, my place of work, the place that I chose to bring up my wonderful son Ben with my life partner Colin, who are here today. Leicester for me is a very special place, and I give back to my community in every way I can because my Leicester community has given to me. And I must thank the University of Leicester and the Council and the Senate for awarding me an Honorary Doctorate in Law today. It means the world to me. This is recognition that is unsought. This is acknowledgement that we don't expect to have. And it's an incredibly proud moment for me, as you can imagine. But it's a wonderfully proud moment for you today, and I congratulate you on starting this journey today. I want to go back to the point that I made a moment ago about how I could not have imagined ever coming back here 39 years later to receive an honorary doctorate. I never even thought that I would be a lawyer. I never thought that at 48 I would set up a business. I never thought I'd be selling that business by 58 or become president of the Law Society. These were all things that to me, at the time, were utterly unimagined. And there is a lesson for all of us in that, which is that you must show passion and imagination in the journey that you are now going on. You must reach out because you will find, I promise you, that your life does not follow the path that you expect it to. It will twist and it will turn, and you need to bend with it and flex with it and adapt to it, because in that adaptation is your personal growth and development. Be open to opportunities, and I do stress the biggest thing in life that you can learn here today is always push out of your comfort zones. We all experience fears every day, even in the most minor way. Sometimes it's just that you had that answer to the question and you didn't want to put up your hand in the classroom. Sometimes it will be something else equally, seemingly trivial. But I want you to think that every single time you have a moment where you think, I don't feel ready, I don't feel confident, I don't want to push myself out there, I don't want to do that. I want you to recognize that this is a crossroads in your life. You have two choices every single time you face something which is pushing you out of your comfort zone. You can step to one side and you can say, no, I'm not ready for that. I have fears, I have anxieties about going forward. Or you can step forward and you can say yes. And every single time you do that, it's like the building bricks of confidence that will eventually become your mansion of who you are. And it will enrich your life, and it will mean that you can go on to greater things. Let me give you, for one moment, a very trivial example. Some time ago, I wanted to raise money for a charity that I'm a trustee for, Alex's Wish, an incredible charity that's raising money to change and save children's lives who otherwise, if we don't find a cure, will not be with us when they're into their 20s. And I decided to take on a challenge of undergoing a loop-de-loop in a small two-seater pyrotechnic plane. This involved 5 loop-de-loops, 1 barrel roll, and a 4G spin. Now, as the day came, and I approached that plane. Normally, when you approach things, they actually get larger. But in this particular case, I can assure you, the plane got smaller because it looked so small and fragile. I was actually quite scared about getting into it. So I had a choice. I had raised all this money. I could get into the plane. I could have an experience that, frankly, I was terrified about at that moment. Or I could step to one side and say, no, thank you. So, of course, I got into the plane. Once we got up there, it was a bit bumpy, it was a bit fragile, but I just about got used to that. When the pilot turned to me, he said, oh, I meant to tell you, you'll be flying the plane on your first loop. And I said, I'm not a pilot, I can't possibly do that. He said, I'll give you the instructions. I'm here, it won't go wrong. And there were 2 simple instructions. And the instruction was, push the joystick forward as far as you can, at which point my stomach was up here, and I was hurtling to the ground, looking at sheep and field. And the second instruction was, push the joystick back as far as you can go, at which point my stomach was down there and we were pointing skyward. It was terrifying. But then at the end of it, after we'd tilted and come around, he said, "You want another go?" And I said, "I think I probably do." So I did it all over again. And then he took over, and we had another 3 loop-to-loops, by which time I was whooping with excitement. I was upside down, sideways. I didn't know which way I was in the sky. It was an incredible. Then we did the barrel roll, and then we did the 4G spin. Now, you might be thinking, why am I telling you all of this? I'm telling you because of how I felt. When I landed and got out of that plane, I felt like I ruled the world. I felt $1 million. Because I'd raised all this money for charity, but because I had the nerve to get into the plane. Getting into the plane was all I had to think about in that moment. I just had to step forward and say yes. And as a result, I had an incredible experience. In your life, you are going to have those crossroads consistently. And I stress, say yes to the opportunity. When I set up my law firm and it became successful, I had so many lawyers who then came to me and said, "Oh, we thought about setting up our own law firm. We really liked the idea. But you know, we were worried about money. We were worried about getting the clients in. We were worried about compliance. We wanted to find somebody else to go into partnership with." All those regrets, graduates, all those regrets. What was the difference between them and me? I'll tell you one thing. I pushed myself out of my comfort zone, and I thought, I can do this. I will do this. I'll set up a law firm on my own. I haven't got money, but I can make it work. And my family backed me. They gave me all the emotional support I needed. And that was the difference between me and all of those lawyers who said they regretted not running their own law firm. I reached the crossroads, and I said yes. A resounding yes to the opportunity. And I want you to do the same. Don't hold back. The second thing I would like to say to you is never allow yourself to be ring-fenced and pigeonholed by other people's prejudices. If they have a stereotype they want to apply to you, reject it. Do not allow them to hold up a mirror and make that your mirror. You look at yourself in your own mirror. You need to be authentically and uniquely you. And if you find yourself in a position where you're working for an organization where you feel you're being limited by their stereotypes of you, then do you know what my answer is? Get out. I know some people say break glass ceilings. I don't believe in breaking glass ceilings, because why should you waste your time on an organization that doesn't have the ethical values that you want to work for? You just move aside and you go up the elevator a different way. As Dr. Jenkins said, if there are glass ceilings, then build your own home. For those of you who are brave enough, do what I did. Think about setting up your own business. As you go forward, you are going to develop the most incredible skills and talents, and you may be able to use them for your own benefit to run your own businesses. Even if you go into leadership for another company, you will be responsible for a team of people, and I want you always to operate with the utmost integrity. Always know that if you didn't want to be stereotyped, you mustn't stereotype other people. You must embrace diversity, cognitive and otherwise, and you must be the transformational leaders of tomorrow. There is so much more to life than just making money. There's so much more pleasure and enrichment you can get when you have a team around you who say, "This is my work home." When you have a team who can say that to you, you know you got it right because you inspired them and they aligned with your values. And I would want you to carry what you've learnt from this incredible university forward, the ethical values, the integrity. I would want you to be the transformational leaders of tomorrow. Now, I will take a moment to say that my family are here in the room with me now. And no speech of this kind, nothing as special as this, could be the same without me thanking my family. I have my 83-year-old mum here, who, whether she realizes it or not, has been someone that I've learnt so many lessons from, so many lessons of importance about family first and foremost, about humility, about selflessness, and an incredible work ethic. I have my incredible life partner here who backs me every single step of the way. He gave me all the encouragement, and as I turned from a shy, very introverted 21-year-old, and I became the person who's prepared to stand in front of you now without my script, which I left on the chair, he has celebrated that achievement far more even than I have, and I couldn't have done it without him. I have my son Ben here, who has made me so proud already, whether he realizes it or not. He's already changed his career twice. He wants to be running his own business in 2 years' time, and I say, yes, Ben, absolutely, take everything life offers you. I am so proud of you. And his partner, Georgia, who is a wonderful, wonderful joy to him, who's brought me an incredible granddaughter, but who is a woman in her own right of drive and determinism. And Georgia, I am going to love watching your journey with Ben over the years to come. Now, finally, to the graduates, as I wrap up, I want to remind you again of those crossroads. And I want to say to you, as John Donne did, that life is an astonishment, and it behoves you to be astonished. So next time you're at that crossroads, say a resounding yes. Thank you very much.